Steam locomotives have many moving parts that need tending to, not just the wheels but the rods, slide gear, bearings, and other appliances. During the steam era, crews would have to oil the many joints and points on the valve gear before the beginning of runs, during, and after so that they wouldn't overheat or seize. This process was inefficient and time consuming. However, one engineer decided to change things. Elijah McCoy was born on May 2, 1844 in Colchester, Ontario as one of 12 siblings. His parents, George and Mildred, were former slaves but left Kentucky behind using the Underground Railroad. Sometime in Elijah's early years, his family moved to Ypsilanti, Michigan. In 1859, at age 15, he went overseas to Edinburgh, Scotland, to study mechanical engineering. When he returned from his apprenticeship, he had been certified as a mechanical engineer. At the time, Elijah found it difficult to find work due to the discrimination he faced. Many fields of work in America were prejudiced in that time, and the railroads were no exception. The most prestigious jobs for African Americans on railroads then were porters, firemen, brakemen, shop mechanics, track laborers, and switchmen, while the roles of engineer and conductor, as well as other supervisory jobs, were left for white employees. Eventually, however, Elijah found work as a fireman on the Michigan Central Railroad. The job of the fireman is to produce steam by managing heat and water, so the engineer can utilize it to move the locomotive. He found out firsthand how tedious it was to oil all the joints on the valve gear. Knowing that a better, more efficient way to go about this task was needed, he set to work. On July 23, 1872, his lubricator for steam locomotives was patented. His invention, the oil drip cup, worked by a container of oil connected to a hollow stem with a piston at the bottom. Steam from the engine would then enter and press on that piston. As steam pressure pushed the piston, it would cause a valve to lift, releasing a controlled amount of oil. The oil would then drip onto the moving parts like the connecting rods and bearings, and lubricating them as the engine ran. He didn't know it, but his invention was a success mechanically and commercially. They were not only used on steam locomotives, but on ships and heavy machinery. Although ingenious, it was a simple design, and other railroad companies tried their hand at creating similar lubricators, but buyers were cautious of buying inferior copies, asking for the real McCoy, a term most associated with Elijah's invention, meaning the tried and true, as his version was greatly trusted by his customers. As time went on, he refined his designs and created new ones because that's what engineers do. He would go on to create around 50 or so patents, most of which correlated to the railroad industry. In the early 20th century, locomotives were getting bigger, faster, and stronger. Superheater systems were one of the many developments in technology at the time, and basically what it does is, it takes the steam from the boiler that may still be wet, and it goes through pipes inside the boiler tubes. The hot, smoke-filled tubes turn the saturated steam into more efficient dry steam. Sometime at that point, Elijah made an automatic graphite lubricator, mixing graphite powder and oil, allowing superheated engines to be oiled, something that couldn't be done with oil alone. Back in 1882, Elijah relocated from Ypsilanti to Detroit, Michigan, and in 1920 he opened his own company there, called the Elijah McCoy Manufacturing Company. Come 1923, Elijah and his wife Mary were involved in a car accident. Mary was fatally injured, but Elijah survived, but he never fully healed from his injuries. This attributed to his declining health. By 1928, he stayed at the Eloise Infirmary in Westland, Michigan. On October 10, 1929, he passed away at age 85. Very few remember this engineer's historically significant accomplishments and innovations. He left the railroad industry much better than he found it. He saw a problem, solved it, and put himself on the map. It was truly an oily opportunity.